علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. عالي جدا الصوت. أسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما وأن يجعل التفرق بعده تفرقا معصوما وألا يدع فينا شقيا ولا محروما. اللهم آمين. In the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most compassionate, the most merciful, all praise and thanks are due to Him, and peace and blessings be upon His beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He who is guided by the will of Allah, no one can misguide him, and he who is misguided, no one can guide him except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We do bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is His messenger. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your deeds, and inshallah, reminder for myself, for everyone, inshallah, tomorrow if you can, if there is nothing stops you that you can fast the day of Arafah, it will be one of the greatest deeds, inshallah. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the sound hadith narrated by Imam Muslim, if I'm not mistaken, قال أحسب على الله أن يكفر عاما سبق وعاما سيأتي. I mean, the great ajr of the fasting of Arafah, and we will be sharing, inshallah, part of the ajr with those who will be standing in the place of Arafah, in the, the pilgrims, inshallah, the Hajj tomorrow. So do your best, inshallah, with whatever good deeds you can do. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your deeds. Now, today, we will be having our 39th session. True? Now, we are still dealing with the immigration of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Last time, we covered part of one of the first immigrants, which was Salama radiallahu anha, if you remember. And we were trying to highlight the importance of knowing those who did these great efforts for the sake that this deen, this khair, this knowledge, this ilm reached us. Otherwise, without this kind of, let's say, efforts that they did, you and me, we could not have been possibly Muslims, or I don't know what is the possibility. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let us really appreciate this kind of blessing and ni'mah. طيب, just to remind you very quickly, Salama radiallahu anha, if you remember, when she wanted to leave, there was a big dispute between her tribe and the tribe of Abu Salama. So he wanted to go with, and I will remind you, قال فخرج يقود به بعيري فلما رأته رجال بني المغيرة بن مخزوم قاموا إليه هذه نفسك غلبتك علينا, which means, okay, you want to go, but on what base you want to take our daughter with us? Now the tribal way of thinking, which Salama from Bani Makhzum and Abu Salama from Bani Asad. Okay? Okay, go. Do whatever you do with yourself, but our daughter will not go. قال فقالوا هذه نفسك غلبتنا عليها أرأيت صاحبتك هذه على ما نتركك تسير بها في البلاد. قالت فنزعوا خطام البعير من يده فأخذوني منه وغضب بنو عبد الأسد وقالوا لا والله لا نترك ابننا عندها إذ نزعتموها من صاحبنا. Now بنو عبد الأسد, they insisted that, okay, if you want to take your daughter, you will take our son. And what happened when they were disputing, pulling him from here and there, they displaced his arm from his body, this young, son. So he became partly disabled because of this, and she was imprisoned with her tribe. Abu Salama radiallahu anhu, he had to go alone. Now, قالت فتجاذبوا ابني سلمة بينهم حتى خلعوا يده. They kept, pulling from here and there till his arm was displaced. وانطلق به عبد الأسد. ففرق بيني وبين زوجي وبين ابني. والله أنا مش عارف كيف أتعامل معها. I feel something is. ففرق بيني وبين زوجي وبين ابني. So they separated between me and my son and my husband. That's what we finished last time. Now we will continue from today. What happened with Salama? And there is an amazing, great lesson. We will come just in a few minutes to see how the blessings and the guidance and the tawfiq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes in amazing way that you cannot ever imagine. Now, Salama that's suffering now, she had no idea at all that at a certain time she will be from Ummahat al-Mu'mineen. She will be the wife of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She has a very, very special status. And we will be reading about something, a non-Muslim, before his Islam, what did he do? And this gives you an indication about, the inner things within the people, how to look in a very positive way to the people, regardless of their background. Sometimes there's an amazing khayr inside the people. So try to dig, to look behind what you see superficially. طيب. قالت كنت أخرج كل غداة فأجلس بالأبطح فما أزال أبكي. Now, Al-Abtah, it's like the suburb of Mecca, like Mississauga and Oakville for Toronto, for example. Okay, it's like saying in our terminology now, she used to live Toronto up to the borders of Mississauga, crying every day because she was completely, she was not able to do anything. It's not like today, she can go have a flight ticket and just go to Abu Salama. No. Woman, if she wants to travel about 500 kilometers alone, it's not something easy. قال فكنت أخرج كل غداة فأجلس بالأبطح فما أزال أبكي. Every day I kept on crying on daily basis. حتى أمسى سنة أو قريبا منها. Every day she was completely hopeless, able to do nothing but just to go to a certain place on a hill, crying on daily basis because she was not able to do anything. Her husband in a place and the son with this difficult medical condition and no one is able to connect with anyone. قال حتى مر بي رجل من بني عمي أحد بني المغيرة فرأى ما بي فرحمني فقال لبني المغيرة ألا تخرجون هذه المسكينة ففرقتم بينها وبين زوجها وبين ولدها. قالت فقالوا لي الحقي بزوجك إن شئت. One of her cousins at a certain time, he felt some kind of sympathy for her. Then he said like a very strong words for her family and her tribe. As if in our words we say shame on you. On what base you are doing this kind of harmful for her? Just leave her alone. Just leave her alone. It seems his words came on a suitable time. They decided just to leave her alone. قالت فقالوا لي الحقي بزوجك إن شئتِ. Go and follow your husband if you wish. قالت ورد بنو عبد الأسد إلي عند ذلك ابني. Full year, the son with the tribe of his father. The father himself in Medina. She herself with her tribe. Can you imagine? It was very difficult. So when they said, okay, if you wish, go and follow your husband, then Banu Abdul Asad say, okay, you can take your son now. Look at happened. قال فارتحلت بعيري ثم أخذت ابني فوضعته في حجري ثم خرجت أريد زوجي بالمدينة وما معي أحد من خلق الله. She took her camel with her son and she started directing herself to Medina alone. No one is with her. قالت فقلت أتبلغ بمن لقيت حتى أقدم على زوجي حتى إذا كنت بالتنعيم لقيت عثمان بن طلحة بن أبي طلحة. She said, I will try to search in case if I can find someone, that I can accompany him or her or them or any group, because what does it mean 1400 years ago a woman travels alone in the desert 450 kilometers? What does it mean? Nowadays with SUV 2023 with full needed all kind of luxurious things, 500 kilometers for women travel in the desert is dangerous. Now. with the GPS, with the telephone, with everything, still dangerous. Can you imagine at that time how was and how difficult it was? قال فلقيت عثمان بن طلحة. Uthman bin Talha, please fix this name in your mind now, because there's something amazing happening with this man. And you will see how amazing when I read to you another narration. What is the status of Uthman bin Talha? He used to be what exactly, and what happened between him and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam a few years before, and what happened a few years later, to see the greatness of this deen. Uthman bin Talha, he's from the people of the Mecca. Uthman bin Talha, basically, he was from the very far depth in the history of Mecca. His group, his family, they were called in the Arabic terminology Sadanatul Bayt. They used to have the key of the gate of Kaaba for ages. Allah knows since when. Ages, hundreds of years. They used to have the honor of from Quraysh, that having the key, and they used to open the gate of the Kaaba twice a week for the people. It's their permission, it's their honor, it's their social, religious status. Okay? It's like, for example, Banu Hashim, they used to do what? الطعام والرفادة والسقاية. They used to bring the food and the water for the pilgrims. Now, Banu Talha, they used to have the key of, because as I told you, Kaaba, it was a sacred place from Ibrahim alayhi salam. Still, it's embedded for them. So they have this honor. So Uthman was the person who was in charge of holding the keys of the Kaaba from the Jahiliyyah. Keep this in your mind, this is very important. This Uthman came in the face of Salama while he was from the Kuffar of Quraysh, and he was against Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. However, look, the concept of nobility and honor for the Arabs. Just pause now. Now we have some Arabs, especially who think in trying to fight the religion, they don't have even the manhood or the nobility that Abu Jahl used to have when he was dealing with women. You know, when we see in the streets those people who do not want to practice Islam, when they do sexual harassment with women in the street in the Arab world, compare him with Abu Jahl from practical, technical, ethical ways as the manners of men at that time. When they wanted to kill Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they refused to jump over the wall, because he said, how come we do this? And the Arab will say, we jumped over the wall into the woman of Muhammad. It was shame on you. How come you do this? Compared with some liberal Arabs now, Abu Jahl maybe deserves a prize now. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. قالت لقيت عثمان أخا بني عبد الدار فقال لي إلى أين يا بنت أبي أمية? Where are you going? Where are you going? قال فقلت أريد زوجي بالمدينة. قال أو ما معك أحد? She said, I want to go to my husband. He said, is there anyone with you? The by default question. قلت لا والله إلا الله وبني هذا. Just Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and my son. قال والله ما لك من مترك. He said, by God, I will not leave you alone. Look, by the way, we need to know something. When Allah decided to choose the people of Mecca to receive the beginning of the message of Islam, they were ignorant, yes. They used to have a lot of mischief and bad behaviors, yes. They were idol worshippers, yes. However, they have some qualities, they have some faculties, okay? They have some ethics and manners entitled them, when the true Iman comes, they will be one of the best. One of them is this, the nobility. You see? He's a noble person. He's people of very high, ethical standards. He said, is there anyone with you? No. And you want to go alone? Immediately on the spot, he took a decision. Do you know what does it mean? He took a decision. and he start holding the rope that controls al-khitam. It's that rope that they put it inside the nose of the camel, because the camel, when you ride it from the nose, it goes with you immediately. I mean, they can't reject this. So he took this rope immediately and started being the guide immediately on spot. But this will take days of walking on his food without preparation. I assume they did not have credit cards at that time, I think. So no food in the way, no water. I mean, it's very difficult. I mean, the burden of taking this ethical decision, it's not like you or me, for example, passing by Tim Hortons, you see someone who say, hey, excuse me, can you pay for a meal for me? Okay, $10, $10. No. The burden of this ethical decision, it means you will change completely everything in your life for about 10, 15 days. You yourself, you might not be able to come. But anyway, look what he did. This non-believer now. قال والله ما لك من مترك. By Allah, I will not leave you. فأخذ بخطام البعير فانطلق معي يهوي بي. So he took it, he started, pulling me behind him. So she was on the camel and he was what? Walking. قال فوالله ما صحبت رجلا من العرب قط أرى أنه كان أكرم منه. She said, by Allah, I have never ever met an Arab has more nobility than him, more generosity, with the generous not just by money, you should noble. The word noble now it contains a lot of meanings: high standard, high ethics, prestigious, nice, good, protective, respectful. All of these meanings you can have it inside of this word. She said, look what he used to do at that time, to see what kind of a disaster we are facing now. Antara, have you heard about Antara? The very well-known slave fighter at the Jahiliyyah. He has a very, very famous verse in a poem. He said, أغض طرفي ما بدت لي جارتي حتى يواري جارتي مأواها. He was a slave at the time of the Arabs, where they used to bury girls alive. He said, if I was about to walk or start, if I saw my female neighbor, immediately I will lower my gaze till she disappears out of respect for her privacy. I will not keep looking at her. He was at the time of the ignorance. Now when you go to the street, you will see 10 young men just trying, to say bad words for a muhajjab or niqabi, sister in the street, and they don't care with that. Subhanallah. This kind of high ethical standards and values. Anyway, look what he used to do. قال كان إذا بلغ بي المنزل أناخ بي ثم استأخر عني حتى إذا نزلت استأخر ببعيري فحط عنه ثم قيده في الشجرة ثم تنحى وقال اركبي. Now 450 kilometers, you can assume, okay, I'm not expert in this, but walking on your feet, having a camel in the speed, let's say, of 3 kilometers per hour, I think every day you will have around, for example, 30, 40, 50. It will take you between 8 to 10, if not 12 days. I don't know how many days exactly, but an average 10 days more or less. Look how many times they stopped, they took a rest, they ate, then they started. What he used to do, they are alone now. He used just to keep pulling the camel. Whenever they want to take a rest, because the camel, it's very high. They need to do anakh al-ba'ir. When you do anakh al-ba'ir, which means when they pull the camel to go down with these steps, he used to bring the camel and let the camel go down, and he will give his back to her and he will leave without looking at her when she is about to leave the camel, because leaving the camel, it has some kind of, as if you are climbing a small, hell. I mean, you need to put like this, you see? Look how they respect. As a woman, while she's leaving, anything might appear from her body. Anything could appear because, it's not an easy thing. She needs to climb and she needs to down. He used so as not to embarrass her, out of respect, just to bring the camel down, then go and gives his back till he's sure that she's, he was not making, lovely chatting with her like anyone will say, subhanallah. And he's a non-believer at that time, mushrik. لا إله إلا الله. قال ثم قيده في الشجر ثم تنحى وقال اركبي فإذا ركبت واستويت على بعيري أتى أخذ خطمي. He قال فلم يزل يصنع ذلك بي حتى أقدمني المدينة. He kept on doing this without opening any kind of private discussions, without trying to make benefit of the fact that he is alone with the woman in the desert, he was just trying to protect her from any possible danger. Till قال حتى أقدمني المدينة, till we reached the Medina. فلما نظر إلى قرية بني عمرو بن عوف بقباء, the area of Quba, which is on the suburbs of Medina. Before you get inside the Medina, there's the area of Quba. There is a village around the Medina for Banu. قال عمرو بن عوف قال زوجك في هذه القرية. He said, your husband is in this village. وكان أبو سلمة بها نازلا فادخليها على بركة الله ثم انصرف راجع إلى مكة. He said just, okay, this is the village where your husband. Go now. Immediately he left. He was not waiting for someone to appreciate him. Oh, mashallah, you are a hero. Mashallah, jazakallah khair. Come, brother. There's a big meal, in the honor of that what you have done. We want to appreciate it. No, at all. This is the place, okay? Yalla go immediately. He just disappeared from the scene. Look to this person, what she said about him, and I will go back with you a few years later now with another narration, what happened between this person and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, فكانت تقول, now I will finish the narration of Salama. She said, والله ما أعلم أهل بيت في الإسلام أصابهم ما أصاب آل أبي سلمة وما رأيت صاحبا قط كان أكرم من عثمان بن طلحة. Now she said two things. To the best of her knowledge, up to that specific moment, she said, I have never come across a family that they suffered like my family, me, my husband, and my son. And I have never ever come across a person has more nobility than Uthman bin Talha. So she was praising him as a non-Muslim. Look to the lesson that we can take so far. The fact that he was a non-Muslim did not stop the Muslimah radiallahu anha Salama from appreciating what he did. Be careful. Yes, we believe that there are believer and non-believer. We believe the final destination, the end result of a non-believer is facing a horrible something if he knows what he's doing and he's aware he was not ignorant with some details. This has nothing to do with being honest and as long as he's not fighting. Do you remember in the Dars Tafsir? If he's not attacking you, helping, aiding someone to kick you out of your country, if he's not killing you, attacking you, he's just a non-believer from you, you are commanded by Allah to be in the best ethical status with him. لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم أن تبروهم وتقسطوا إليهم. Someone might say, but this is something very normal, we live it. Habibi, this is 1400 years ago. Do you know what does it mean if you live in the Roman Christianity or Christian Romans? If you are a non-Christian, what will happen to you? Do you know if you live in Persia and you were not following their religion? Do you know what does it mean to live in a certain place? Because most of countries at that time, they were based either on ethnicity or on religion, and that's it. If you are not part of the group, may God be with you. So when you have a religion at that time with all these kinds of polarization, with all kinds of racism at that time, on ethnic basis and on religious basis, you will find a religion that appreciates what he thinks is against his faith. You will see the ethical standard of this religion to a degree that Allah in the book لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين يقاتلكم, even when Allah subhanahu, even though you know what we believe towards Christians and Jews in terms of the faith, yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was present. ومنهم من إن تأمنه بقنطار يؤديه إليك ومنهم من إن تأمنه sorry اللهم صل على محمد. مين ذكرني بداية الآية؟ ومن أهل الكتاب من إن تأمنه بدينار لا يؤديه إليك إلا ما دمت عليه قائما ومنهم من إن تأمنه بقنطار يؤديه إليك. So this is the justice of Islam. The fact I disagree with you in what will happen in the hereafter does not mean I will delete completely any kind of goodness in your character or in your ethical standard as long as you are doing this. This is two different fights. Is he nice? Yes. Is he doing good? Yes. Shall I appreciate? Yes. Shall I be grateful and thankful? Yes. Definitely, yes. This is completely different from what do you think about me in the hereafter? If you don't believe, you are going to the hellfire. This is something else. This is something else. Anyway, Uthman, I will give you a narration about what happened a few years before. This happened now around 13th Hijri. Go back about 10 years later. Look to this narration. روى ابن سعد عن إبراهيم محمد عبدالي عن أبيه, chain. عثمان قال عثمان بن طلحة. Now the narrator of this is Uthman himself. He said لقيني رسول الله بمكة قبل الهجرة فدعاني إلى الإسلام. He said Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw me once in Mecca before the migration and he called me to be a Muslim. I told him يا محمد العجب لك حيث تطمع أن أتبعك وقد خالفت دين قومك وجئت بدين محدث. He said, really, I'm wondering on what you are doing. You want me to follow you? You are destroying your traditions, you are attacking the religion of your forefathers, and really you think that I will follow you? So let's talk about himself and his attitude towards Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. قال وكنا نفتح الكعبة في الجاهلية الاثنين والخميس. And he said, as someone who's in charge of the keys of Kaaba, we used in the Jahiliyyah to open the gate of the Kaaba every Monday and Thursday. قال فأقبل يوما يريد أن يدخل الكعبة مع الناس فأغلظت عليه ونلت منه فحلم عني. Look, he said, I had this kind of bad feeling towards him and I was in charge of the gates of the Kaaba. So he used to open, anyone would like to get into Kaaba. It was like an open public religious place, like the masjid. So Muhammad once wanted to come. Uthman bin Talha, he used his power and he was very tough with him and he insulted him and prevented him from getting on the Kaaba. He used his power against Muhammad قال فحلم عني. Now, okay, from tribal point of view, from manhood point of view, a man is misusing his power against a man. Muhammad is from Bani Hashim. Now, from political, social point of view, you are misusing your power against me as a man and has a big tribe and better than your tribe. Muhammad could have made this a big trouble and he was able to fight. He was able to hit. He was able to be rude. قال فحلم عني. He was very patient. He did not reply back. He did not make anything bad with me. Now, Uthman himself is the narrator. قال ثم قال يا عثمان لعلك سترى هذا المفتاح يوما بيدي أضعه حيث شئت. He said, you never know, Ya Uthman. Maybe this key that you are holding someday will be in my hand. You never know. What was the reply of Uthman? قال لقد هلكت قريش وذلت. He said, what? It means, we are lost. He was mocking Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Can you imagine this? Can you imagine, for example, an Arab living in the United States, illegal immigrants, no green card, no citizenship, speaking with Obama or Biden or Trump, telling them, hey, you never know, maybe someone will be in your place. This is what they will say. What? Okay, tell me another joke. I want someone, to make me laugh. Another joke. This is what will be the reaction. This is exactly what happened with Uthman. He said, what? لقد هلكت إذن قريش وذلت. As if, wow. خلاص, we are finished. Finito. Making fun of him. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When he told him, you never know, Ya Uthman. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a prophet, receiving the revelation. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed him that he will be holding the key of the Kaaba later. قال, now Uthman, قال لعلك سترى المفتاح. You never know. Maybe someday it will be in my hand and I will put it wherever I want. I will take the decision who will have in this key. Subhanallah. قال لقد هلكت قريش وذلت. قال بل عمرت يومئذ وعزت. Now the words that Uthman used, he said, if this will happen, it means this is the destruction, the humiliation of Quraysh. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, no, it will be the honor and the prestige of Quraysh. Subhanallah, he's speaking as a prophet now. But Uthman, for him, as a kafir now, he's not able to digest what Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is talking about. Anyway, قال ودخل الكعبة. Then he came into Kaaba. قال فوقعت كلمته مني موقعا فظننت أن الأمر سيصير كما قال. This means his word really touched me. And I felt as if really what he has described will happen. Sometimes you have a feeling. Sometimes you have the power. You are making fun of a very weak person. This weak person, from your point of view, might say, hey, you never know what will happen. I might be your boss in a few years. And you are the general manager or the executive, director of a company, and this is just a new employee. He has just started the job just last week. He has a very, and you have the prestige, making fun of him. He say, don't deal with your subordinates in this way. You never know, I might be your boss in 2 years. And you start, and 2 years later, he will be the executive director, and he will take the decision to fire you or to keep you. You never know. By the way, it did happen many times for many people around the world, by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anyway, but I felt, he says, I felt that I was touched by his word inside his heart, and I felt that this will happen. قال فأردت الإسلام. Now I started thinking seriously to consider being a Muslim, because it's not a magical decision. You don't, for example, be in a status, you are walking the streets, hey, why not to become a Muslim? Really? Okay, I'll become a Muslim. Yalla, let's become a Muslim. It's not the case that come. You have a long, process of thinking, feelings, considering, because sometimes anyone want to change his life from a religion to religion, the first thing comes to his mind, the consequences. It's huge. If you are a priest and you want to become a Muslim, the first thing you will think, they will kick me out of the church. I will not be having my monthly salary. My wife might ask to divorce. My kids will not speak with me. This is very normal. Anyone will change, which is immediately, can I afford not living with my kids? Can I afford living with my wife? This is the first thing that will come to mind. What if they kick me out of completely the whatever religion I'm in there? No one will support me. What if they will attack me? What if they decide to hurt me physically, or to assassinate my character? What they call it, the character assassination. They will start, spreading rumors against me, destroying my reputation, whatever. So you feel afraid, even if you are considering seriously, but you will what? Think about the consequences. So not everyone has the courage, just whenever he believes in something, just go on, say it. No, it's not the case. The majority of the people, they will count to 10 before taking a decision. I'm talking about when you are assured that the haqq is haqq and truth is truth. Yet, we are hesitant because of the consequences. So he said, فَأَرَدْتُ الْإِسْلَامِ, I wanted to become a Muslim. فَإِذَا قَوْمِي يَزْبُرُونَنِي زَبْرًا شَدِيدًا. So I thought, I was about to consider, but I was attacked by my people. Then I changed my mind. The peer pressure. It happens. By the way, on the level of the school, sometimes at the school, maybe the youth, they can tell us about what happens. Sometimes you believe that you have to pray on time, and you think that this is an obligation, and you would love really to do it. If the majority of your Muslim friends, they don't pray, and they might make fun of you, wallah, you will count to 10 before you pray on time. If they are making fun of you and attacking you for whatever reason. You see, it's the peer pressure is not something easy. The context around you. So he stopped and he changed his mind and decided not to listen to this kind of anything. خلاص, I will not consider Islam at all. قال فلما كان يوم الفتح. This happened at the very beginning of the da'wah. 4th, 5th, we don't know exactly. Let's assume it's at the very beginning after the secret da'wah, 4th. Now, يوم الفتح. Fath what? The conquer of Mecca, which happened on 8th after the Hijrah, which means about 17 years later. قال فلما كان في يوم الفتح, when Prophet Muhammad came with Muslims and they opened Mecca peacefully and it was conquered peacefully. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam قال لي يا عثمان ائت بالمفتاح فأتيته به فأخذه مني. Look what happened. Now we are talking about an army. Full control by militant power, which means the political system is completely collapsed there. And it was taken over by the new political leaders, i.e. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Muslims. Khalas. No one has the power. All kuffar of Makkah, they lost completely their power. Now the power is with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now let's think in the political terminology now, military terminology. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam called Uthman and said, Ya Uthman, bring me the key of the Kaaba. He brought him. After he captured and he was holding it by his hand, دفعه إلي وقال خذوها خالدة تالدة لا ينزعها منكم إلا ظالم. He returned it back to him while the people are witnessing. He said, take it, you and your people, and it will stay with you up to the day of judgment. No one is allowed to take it except a zalim hakim. Tyrant, dictator, leader. So no one dared since 1400 years to take it from Banu Talha. Up to this moment in Saudi Arabia now, they are still holding the keys. Al-Talha, the eldest of them who's still living, even when they want, at the time of the Hajj, when they want to wash the Kaaba, they come and they open it, and the royal family, they come to it. Up to now. Because the hadith, قال لن يأخذها منكم إلا ظالم. The one who will take it from you, it's a prophetic fatwa that he is a zalim. Leave it. Subhanallah. From that time, by the way, when he did, still Uthman is not a Muslim. Yes, at that very moment when this happened with him, he was making fun of Prophet Muhammad 17 years ago. He was holding the key and he was holding the power and the prestige. And he said, and he was very tough with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when he told him, لعلي أمسك هذه المفاتيح بيدي أضعها حيث أشاء. He said, you never know, I might be holding and controlling this keys and I'll put it wherever I want. I say, oh, halakat. He was making fun of him. Now, literally, he's holding the key and yet he submitted it again to him and he said, it's for you. خالدة تالي لا ينزعها منكم إلا ظالم. It will not be taken by force except by a ظالم, by injustice, by a tyrant, by a dictator. Subhanallah. قال يا عثمان إن الله استأمنكم على بيته. Allah gave you his استأمنكم with a plural, which means بنو طلحة. Okay, up to this moment. قال على بيته فكلوا مما وصل إليكم بالمعروف فلما وليت ندعني. He said Allah gave you, which means use it in a good way. Don't misuse it. قال, he said, I took it from Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم as a non-Muslim. قال ثم وليت, which means I turned my face and starting, walking far from Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم. قال ناداني فرجعت إليه. He called me back again. فرجعت فقال ألم يكن الذي قلت لك. He said, don't you remember about what I have said in Mecca? Did it happen or not? He reminded him about 17 years ago now. Did it happen or not? قال فذكرت قوله لي بمكة قبل الهجرة. He said, it came to my mind because, for 15, 16, 17 years, it was, a moment of 1 minute. Just, I want to come. No, I don't want to come. This, you don't know. Maybe I just disappeared. When he reminded me, he said, I remember. فذكرت قوله. I remembered what happened between me and him in Mecca about 15 or 17 years ago. قال لعلك سترى هذا المفتاح يوما بيدي أضعه حيث شئت. فقلت بلى. He said, yes, يا رسول الله. I remembered that you did tell me many years ago that you never know, this key might be in my hand and I will decide where to put it as I wish. قال بلى يا رسول الله أشهد أنك رسول الله. I bear witness that you are the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قال فقام علي مفتاح الكعبة. Then Ali asked Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to take this honor, instead of Talha. فقال رسول الله أين عثمان؟ فدعا قال هاك المفتاح اليوم يوم بر ووفاء. وأعطاه الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم وقال غيبوه أن الله تعالى رضي لكم بها في الجاهلية والإسلام. It was a discussion as if Ali said, Ya Rasul, why not to take it for us? He said, no, Allah was satisfied from them at the time of ignorance to be in charge of the keys of Kaaba, and Allah decided, look to the honor, to give you this honor up to the day of judgment. So subhanallah, look to this kind of quality in his heart, entitled, and look what he did with Salama. Even though he was against Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but this gives you an idea. Allahu a'lam. Inside his heart, he had this kind of khair. He was considering. He was thinking seriously. So one of the lessons that we might take from this: be careful when dealing with non-believers and non-Muslims. You don't know which one of them is watching, trying to consider, processing. Because, the majority of us, we were born Muslims. So we don't know the difficulty, respected brothers and sisters. We don't know the difficulty of leaving your culture and religion and starting from zero in your religion. It's not easy. The majority of us, we were born Muslims, alhamdulillah. So we did not face this difficulty. Your father is a Muslim, your mother is a Muslim, your mother is wearing the hijab, your father is a praise and he used to take you to the masjid. You are not now 30 or 35. All of your family on another religion. All of your business completely dependable on your faith, regardless what this faith is. You will be kicked out. Wallahi, once, about many years ago, at the very, very beginning of the social media, let's say about 18, 19 years ago, and it started just, I think, 2007, 2000, no, sorry, not social media, the websites. When we started having websites, 2005, 2003, more or less, before the social media. Once I decided, as part of my study as an expert in comparative religions, and most of my specialty in the PhD, it was about Christianity, later on about atheism, but at that time. So I was concerned in some of my researches to study the phenomena of the Christian reverts or converts. But at that time, no social media like now. I was just reading websites, okay? So I searched a big group of websites, I forget, 13, 15, 17, all of them about new Muslim converts. So one of the common things, I read about tens of them, from Philippines, from Switzerland, from Germany, United States, Canada. They were Christians, and most of them, they were religious Christians, and a good percentage of them, they were priests in Christianity. And they decided to become Muslims. The majority of them, when I was reading their articles speaking about their journey to Islam, the majority, they said, I was convinced that Islam is the truth. I was really considering, and I would love to become Muslim, but the majority of them, he said, I was not able to leave what I was in because of, I can't afford it. I was afraid from the consequences. It was not a problem of intellectual conviction. No. It was, okay, I know this is the truth, but when I take a decision, one of them from Africa, I remember he said, when I became a priest in my country, in a poor African country, he said, I reached to a status that I used to travel with a helicopter. I used to have a big villa with a swimming pool and 4 Toyota Land Cruiser under my control. Can you imagine? A poor African country, someone, part of what he controls, he travels with a helicopter, 4 Land Cruisers, and a number of assistants, open check to use it. He said, and I know when I said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, all of these things will be taken from me. And it happened. So this is the only obstacle. It was not that whether I'm convinced that Islam is the truth or not. So therefore, please, sometimes when you discuss, when you talk with the people, don't think the problem is just intellectual thing. Try to consider their human context. Try to consider the practical, technical, human obstacles and challenges. So if you want to help, try to offer plus solutions in addition to the intellectual ones, if you can. So do your best for this. Anyway, so let's come to now, in this context, when Ali asked Prophet Muhammad to take the key, and Prophet Muhammad insisted that we must give it to Uthman, even though, can you imagine, Prophet is the conqueror. Muslims, they took over a dictator regime. So they have the full right politically, socially, not to listen to anyone. And by the way, he was not a Muslim at that time. I mean, the least, taking revenge from your enemies, simply just kick them out, put them in a prison, don't think about any good things, because they were torturing Muslims for hours, for years. True or false? Yet, at a very specific moment, the following verse was revealed. To see the beauty and the genuinity and the nobility of Islam. إن الله يأمركم أن تؤدوا الأمانات إلى أهلها وإذا حكمتم بين الناس أن تحكموا بالعدل. This is the context. Indeed, Allah commands you to return trust to their rightful owners. Allah was commanding Muslims, it's not up to you. Return back this trust, because I, as your Lord, decided to put these keys with this family. Just do it. This gives you an idea that Muhammad ﷺ and Muslims, they were not doing what they wish as they think or even they wish. They have no right. They were commanded by Allah. This is the beauty of Islam. It's not up to your feelings. It's not up to your thoughts. Haqq, batil, right, wrong, haqq. This is justice. It has nothing to do with your feelings or your thoughts or even your power. Even you have a power. Prophet Muhammad had the power. But there is a law of Allah above the power and the feelings and the personal convictions. And this is the beauty of Islam, which cannot be changed. That's why many people on earth now, they know the only religion that they can depend on to protect their values is Islam. Wallahi, believe me, especially when it comes to the values such as family values. Who can stand to defend the family values on earth now except Muslims? By the way, not because of their numbers, not because of their high level IQ or degrees, no, because of the system. It's a divine system, protected. No one can change it. No one can play. You can't. It's preserved by Allah. إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ. Wallah, if it's up to Arabs, many Arab leaders would have changed it long time ago. Wallahi, we have many Arab leaders in the history, and now, wallahi, if it's up to them, they will bring us a new Quran. And they don't mind every one of them to bring a Quran to worship him personally. If it's up to them, oh, mashallah. Very creative in this context. But they can't. إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ. This is the majestic we. It's we who revealed this Quran. قال وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. And it's we who will preserve it. So whatever you do, whether you are a leader, whether you can't change the Quran. In the Quran, you have restrictions about good, bad, right, wrong, haq, batil, truth, falsehood. No one can play with it. No one, regardless. Even if someone tried to do it, a young man in Islam can stand before him and stop him, because the text is preserved. You can't. Look in the footnotes in the translation of Mustafa Khattab in English, what they say. This verse, and I will finish with this inshallah. This verse was revealed, which is يَأْمُرُكُمْ أَن تُؤَدُّوا الْأَمَانَاتِ. Allah has commanded you to return back the trust to the rightful owners. This verse was revealed right after Mecca had peacefully surrendered to the Muslims. Ali bin Abi Talib, the Prophet's cousin and son-in-law, took the Ka'ba's keys by force from Uthman ibn Talha, the non-Muslim keeper of the Kaaba. The verse was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ inside the Kaaba with the order to give the key back to its rightful owner. He ﷺ ordered Ali to return the key to the keeper immediately along with an apology. Uthman was also promised that his family would keep the key forever. The keeper was so touched by the Quranic sense of justice that he decided to accept Islam. Can you imagine now, for example, Napoleon conquering a country? After he is controlling the country, he decided to search for the people of their rights and to give them their rights. If you read the history of Napoleon, what he did, or for example, French leader, do you know one of the Belgium kings occupying an African country where they have the rubber? I forget the African country, Congo maybe, or Congo, yes. Belgium. The Belgium king, you can see up to now the pictures of how African people of Congo, under the control of a Belgian king, when they were harvesting, the rubber. If someone fallen short, not fulfilling his daily work, they used to bring his son and they chop his 2 hands in front of him. They will throw these 2 palms in his face as a punishment for not doing his daily job. This was part of the daily basis punishments for the slaves in Congo by a Belgian king. If you want to see what Spanish did for Latin America, go and just ask Mr. Google. Ammu Google, Wallahi, he will give you a lot of knowledge about this. Go and ask this Dutch people what they did in Indonesia. Really, this is how you should think. When Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, because this is the vast majority of people, Americans, what did they do to Vietnamese people? According to the BBC, American army, while they were occupying Vietnam, they showered Vietnamese with 26 million tons of chemical weapons, which is equal to 4 nuclear bombs. So when someone says Islam was spread by sword, نعم حبيبي. When he conquered Mecca peacefully, this is what he did. You need to know this about your religion, because really it's very funny when you know the history of these nations did what they did, and yet they have the power to tell you about your religion. They want to teach you about your religion. Naham, excuse me. No, you are ignorant, you don't know. But you have to know your religion. Be proud of it, understand it, and tell the right knowledge to those people who don't understand. Now, this is the end of the story of Salama radiallahu anha. Next time, inshallah, as I told you, just the story of Umar al-Khattab, that highly spread, that highly known, that he announced his immigration and he challenged the people of Mecca. It's not a sound hadith, it's not hadith, لم تثبت القصة, the story of Umar. So next time, inshallah, after the Eid, بإذن المولى عز وجل, we will start with the very beginning of the immigration of Prophet Muhammad himself. And there is a very beautiful narration, sound narration by Aisha. Aisha is the narrator of the sound details. How was the political arrangements, the security arrangements of the immigration of Prophet Muhammad with Abu Bakr? And Aisha, she's the daughter of Abu Bakr. She was witnessing from day one every single step and preparation they did up when they reached to Medina بإذن الله عز وجل. تقبل الله طاعتكم. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your deeds. In advance, Siyam Arafah Maqbul. May Allah accept your deeds tomorrow, inshallah. And Eid Mubarak for all of you. And don't forget, inshallah, in the Eid, to do one of the most important things. For parents, do your best to let your kids feel the pleasure and the happiness of the Eid. Because when they see other festivals for other religions, very happy, and they don't see anything in our own, the inside themselves, they will be confused from one angle. 2, don't forget Salat al-Rahim. Take care of your relatives, your parents. Most of us, if not all of us, we are immigrants. So we have most of our families back home. So please put a priority for this. Take care of your parents if they are not living with you. Try to speak with them directly, alhamdulillah. I remember myself when I was in the UK about 27 years ago, sometimes the best of I was able to do just to buy a small card with 10 pounds. Hardly can I was able to speak 10 minutes or 7 minutes just once a week or twice a month, because very expensive, international, very expensive. I don't think, Assalamu alaikum, Yumma, how are you? Anyone passed away, shall we say the condolence to anyone? The first thing, if someone passed away, you need just to say, Allahu ajrakum. You see, are you okay? Everyone is good, no disasters, no troubles, no big things, alhamdulillah, everything okay? Please say salam to my dad, say salam alaikum, that's it. Twice a month. Now you can open a video call with your mother and your father 10 hours a day, zero cost, because the bill, it's a free Wi-Fi, most of us. So there is no excuse to do Salat al-Rahim. No excuse at all. Your paternal aunt, maternal aunt, ammatku, khalatku, khwalku, you see, your direct sister, sometimes brother and sister, they don't speak with each other hardly once a year or twice a year. So Eid is one of the greatest opportunities to fix all of these, inshallah, troubles, and it has a great ajr. تقبل الله طاعتكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
على بكره دكتور.
ايش؟